Hey everyone, thank you for joining me for how to create a full-length feature film script using AI. So we're going to jump right into it. I am here in Grok, but you can use the AI platform of your choice, whether you're on Claude or ChatGPT or wherever. The same concept applies as long as they have the basic functions we are going to look at here. So in Grok, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a new project. You don't have to do it this way, but this is a method I have found to be effective, so I am sharing it here. So over here we have our projects and we're going to click on new project, and here it says project name. So we're going to just say test film script. We'll call it that. And here we have project instructions. Add instructions about the tone, style, and persona you want Grok to adopt. So this is something that you could play around with, but you can basically say something like screenwriting partner. Something like that. Could get into it as much as you want, but that seems like a good idea here. So then we'll hit next. Project sources. Now here, if you have files related to this that you want to bring in, you can do that. If you already have a pre-existing script or you have the beginning of a script, you can bring that in here. Then you can hit create or add sources later, which we're going to hit. So we have created our test film script. Now, I already did this here before. I have this one called rom-com, and clicking on rom-com, you are going to see what we're trying to do here. So first we have our brainstorming conversation, which this is where we started. And if I click on this, then you're going to see here for yourself that this is where I said, I want you to create a full-length feature film script that's going to be a rom-com, and I need your help to brainstorm the script. So then Grok comes back and basically just adds a bunch of stuff, makes some suggestions and all sorts of stuff. And quite honestly, pretty much just builds the entire idea for us right up front. Now, you're probably going to want to come in with your own idea, but you can definitely do that with AI. You're just not always going to come up with the best results. So it's a better idea to come in with your own idea in place. But we want to have our brainstorming conversation. This is where we are going to have our main conversation with Grok, and this is kind of like the brain for the entire project as well. And then from there, what we want to do is we want to create separate conversations for each scene. And right here, you can see I have scene 1 and scene 2, and each of these conversations is dedicated to a specific scene and to brainstorming for that scene. So you have your main brainstorming, which is kind of for the entire project, and then you have your individual scenes. And I find that this is a good method for keeping things kind of separated and organized. Then from there, once you have your information, once you have your scene, so you can see here, we've got our scene that I've already generated here with Grok. And again, you can use whatever LLM you prefer, but we have our scene here. So I'm going to take the scene and we're going to copy and we're going to paste that into a Google Doc. And this is, again, don't have to do it this way. There's other ways you could do it, but this is kind of a simple, straightforward way of doing this, which is to basically use your LLM as where you produce all of your content. And then once you're done, transfer it over into a Google document. And what I have done in the past is this script here. which I worked on with my friend Johnny Dean, Crimson Sockeye. And this is how we learned how to do this method. And so basically, by going in and copying and pasting all of the different scenes as you produce them, as you kind of go through and you start fleshing out your idea, then you can bring all of that and copy and paste that into a document program of your choice. Google Docs is a good one to use, but that's basically how you do it. You take the basic script that you are creating in your LLM, and then you copy and paste that, bring that into your Word document or your Google Docs or wherever. And that is just kind of a simple way of sort of streamlining things and keeping them organized. Now, you may have a different way that you want to go about this, but this is just a way that I have found is simple and easy to wrap your head around, and it's a good way of going about it. But that is basically to create a project, and then within the project to create different conversations for each scene. Now you can break that down the way you want. You can do like act 1, act 2, act 3 conversations, or however it is that you want to do that. But that to me is a simple way of going about it. And the result, push it into your word processor of choice, and you have now used AI to create a script for a full-length feature film. Now, the thing about this is that AI is not going to do the heavy lifting for you. So this is like, if you think that AI is going to just spit out a script for you, then you are sorely mistaken. It's not going to work that way. Now, it can work that way, but what you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with a lot of gibberish. You're going to end up with a lot of like just stuff that doesn't really make that much sense. So what I would suggest that you do is that you do your brainstorming here in your LLM of choice. You then bring that into a document of your choice, and then you go through and you edit everything and make sure that you really bring your own voice to it. Now, by guiding the AI through the process, you are going to get most of what you want there in the script. But what you are basically relying on the AI more so for is not so much to write the script for you, more so for formatting. It gets everything out there on paper, so then you can go and edit it at your leisure, and that saves you a ton of time. And this is where like the AI kind of acts then as almost like a personal assistant to dictate, to transcribe your script, and then from there you can be the editor and dial everything in. So that's pretty much it. Use LLM of your choice, feed everything into the word processor of your choice, and there you go. That's how you can create a full-length feature film script using AI.